don't know if you're ready for this, Zachary.
I'm ready.
I have a feeling that you are ready. You're a man that is ready.
It's so good. Every time.
Welcome to the Fairview Social Podcast. Visit us on www.thefairviewsocialpodcast.com. I say visit us, visit me at thefairviewsocialpodcast.com. And if you have not heard, you can watch the videos on Spotify. So when you get on Spotify, if you say, hey, you know what? I want to see what this guy looks like, you can get on there and see. So
I do like that. I do that sometimes.
Do
Like,
you?
With some podcasts I listen to, yeah, I get like the video, and then it has like all the guys in the screen talking about it.
I'm always worried that like I put the video on Spotify. I always have to wait after it releases because my RSS feed pushes it out, and then I have to upload it to Spotify. I can't do it all at once. And so I've got on Spotify before to see what it looks like, and I'm just like, the video's playing, and I don't know that if I'm a listener, I don't know if I want it to play.
Yeah.
So I'm conflicted on it, but I know that, like, I noticed that when I do upload them on there, a lot of people watch them on there.
Yeah. I like it. I mean, YouTube, same deal. Like watching it back. I saw a guy the other day. I was driving home from work, and he had, you know how on Spotify, like it'll play like a loop of like a 5-second clip of a music video or whatever.
Yeah.
So this guy's got like his phone mounted on his dashboard, and it's like dark out and it's full brightness, and this loop, we're at a red light, it's just looping over and over. I'm like, I don't know how you can do it. Like, I can't do that.
That's Joseph.
Is it really?
Yeah.
It probably was Joseph.
Well, of course, me and Joseph were talking a couple weeks ago about how like we're getting old and we can't like see the phones and stuff anymore and all that kind of stuff. But the whole time I was like, look, I know your ass is on there watching videos while you're driving down the road. Because he says, I put it on the mount and then I just leave it there.
Yeah.
But in my mind, and I wasn't going to call him out in front of him, I guess I'm going to do it with you.
Yeah, fine.
Is that he's like, he puts it on his mount and he does leave it on the mount. He doesn't mess with it, but he starts a video first.
He's watching that.
He's watching it while he's driving down the road. For sure. All right, but we got Zachary Crone here today, the Fairview Social Podcast resident LA, for those of you that don't know, landscape architect.
That's right.
And it's our time of year in the landscaping business. Of course, maybe for you, it's all the time.
It's all the time.
It's all the time.
Always going.
But for me, it's like, well, it is all the time for me too, but the stress of others starts right now.
Yep.
Because it's spring and it's starting to go.
I remember it well.
Yeah. So in the landscaping industry, everybody, I know that the stupid groundhog said that we have 6 more weeks of winter. But I'm here to tell you that in Nashville, Tennessee, spring is here.
For now.
Here, get in that mic.
Sorry.
Don't be scared of that mic.
Yeah. Sorry. This is a new setup in here. You know, I was used to like being over there. Now I'm over here. The table's in the middle of the floor.
Listen, we're trying to get more professional on you.
Yeah, it
here.
looks great in here, man.
That's good. But yeah, so in the landscape industry, everything is like go, go, go. And I think that it kind of caught us off guard because a few weeks ago we were iced in. I did a couple episodes talking about, you know, just the snowstorm and all that kind of stuff. But in typical Tennessee fashion, it turns right around into spring.
Yep. Well, a tornado was maybe this weekend or something. They're saying the weather's supposed to be. It's just that's how it goes here.
I know. It's very strange how it goes with all that. But honestly, and I was going to ask you what you think of this because by the time this releases, we will have spring forwarded, and so for me, for years. All of the years before, I've just been like, I love fall back.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like it dark early, And the reason and I know that a lot of people disagree, but my reasoning behind that is because when it falls back and I'm sitting and watching TV, as the listeners know that I do, I watch a lot of TV, I will look up and I'm like, God, it's dark outside. And then I look at the clock and it's like 6 o'clock and I'm like, oh, I've got
A long
four
time.
more hours to watch TV.
So true.
And so, but now what I was going to say now is now that I'm older, I'm just like, and it's been, it's starting to get, lighter. It's lighter outside later. And I'm just like, man, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Because I could do all of these things outside. And we were just commenting how beautiful it is outside. The sun just went down, but it's been really nice.
Yeah. I think too, when I used to work with you guys, it wasn't, if it got dark early, it wasn't so bad because it was kind of the downtime in the season and all that. But now, spending all my days in an office for the most part, you leave and it's dark when you leave and you get home and you're like, man, I got things I need to do, but
I know.
I just can't get motivated. So now when it starts getting, lighter, later, or it stays lighter longer.
Yeah.
I mean, I can get some projects done outside. I can do a bunch of stuff, and
I think that's
my
what's
mood is better.
I think that's what's happened to me because I used to work out in the field, and when it got dark, that in my mind equaled.
Yeah.
Okay, when I was working in the field, it was like, oh, well, I know I can't work past 4 no matter what,
Right.
because there used to be times where I was working till 7 or 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
But then when I was managing all of it, it was just I always had this constant I want to turn my mind off because I'm worried about people out in the field. Even if I leave at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, it's in my mind, I'm still worried about my team.
Yeah. They're still out there grinding.
Yeah, they're out there grinding, and I don't want them to, if a car accident happened or any kind of an emergency or anything like that. So my mind was always on the go. As soon as the night fell, it's just okay, I can relax.
Yeah.
But now that I'm out of all of it, I think that I'm just okay, I'm ready for the sun to come back because it's dark and it's gloomy, and I'm just I feel like a normal person now. I'm ready for it to turn all around.
That's right.
And
yeah. I started a new project at the house right now. I finally got around to adding a lean-to onto my shed because we need more storage in a bad way. Just
nice.
Now, when I got to cut the grass or whatever, I have to take everything out of the shed and, put it in the yard so I can get stuff out.
Yeah.
So building this little lean-to off to the side just to move some things out and have a real workshop in there. And, man, we started on it last weekend. Caitlin helped me a bunch. And now that it's going to be lighter out, we can finish it and not have to let it sit around until the weekend comes around.
Well, how far away from it are you from being finished with it?
So right now we've got all the posts up. We got the rafters up. And so this weekend we'll probably try to dry it in. Yeah. Put the walls up, get the roof on, all that.
Guys out there, I don't know if you heard this, but Zach has roped his wife into helping him.
Man, you know what? And I've been talking about this project for so long. It's one of those things everybody at work has heard me talk about it. And they're like, hey, we've been talking about this for 2 years now. It feels like I just started talking about it. But no, she sent me a text last week while I was at work and was like, let's do something outside this week and let's get the lean-to going or whatever. I was like, do you really want to do that? She's like, yeah, let's go to Home Depot, get all the materials. That was on Friday. She's like, let's get all the materials after work and we'll start in the morning. And by God, that's what we did. We went and got everything on Friday night, filled up the truck, woke up early Saturday morning, just got after it.
That's awesome.
I was out there the whole time, pouring concrete and cutting wood and everything.
It's fun though that when you, for me, it's when you come up with a project that you want to do, and then you kind of, for me, because I'm half-assed with everything, I half-ass plan it out and I half-ass get the results that I want. But when you plan out a project and then you go and get the things that you need and then you execute it, it feels so good.
Yeah, it's nice.
Any kind of home improvement or anything like that. I mean, just as something as dumb as in the snowstorms, I ordered, I got this guy on Facebook to bring me a bunch of wood for my fireplace because we were out. I didn't know when the powers are going to come back on. And so the guy comes out and he's like, where do you want me to put it? And I was like, well, I don't want him to put it in the normal spot because it was like, 1,000 feet of snow and ice.
Yeah.
And so I was like,
fast.
I know. I was like, I need it fast. I said, just put it on the front porch. And he even texted me in the middle of all of it. He's like, hey, I'm running out of room. I was like, look, do whatever you need to do, but just make sure I can get in the front door. And so he's like, okay. So he's like stacked it all the way around. And so of course the snow's gone and everything's back to normal. And I've got
still there?
I've got all this wood on the front porch. And Nikki's like, hey, what's the plan with this? Not complaining about it or anything, but like, hey, we need to do something about it. And so she sends me a link to like a rack. And so I end up buying a rack 4 weeks later.
Yeah, that's okay. Hey, good things take time.
I know. I'm on my schedule.
That's right.
So I get the rack in the mail the other day. And so having a few beverages, I'm just like, all right, I got this rack. It's been sitting here for a few days. I'm going to put this together.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put every bit of that wood on that rack. Of course, it sounds great after you've had a few.
Everything does.
And so I put the rack together, having my beer, enjoying myself. I put the rack together and I'm like, all right, where am I going to put this? And I'll tell you about this in a minute, but we're about to remodel the house up there and we're not going to have a fireplace. So it's going to be like wood pit wood.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, I'm going to put it on the edge of the driveway over there. So I put the rack over there. I'm like, I'm good to go. I'm going to go and I'm going to put every bit of this wood over here. I'm going to put this whole rick of wood over on this rack that I got. So I put the rack together, I take it out there, put it in place, and I go up to start moving the wood. And I got about 50 pieces of it. Mm-hmm. I took about 6 trips because I have to walk it around. And in my mind, I'm like, I need a wheelbarrow. I need something like that. And I'm like, no, Tim, you need the exercise because you have a bet with Joseph for $500.
Oh.
So if you have not heard the last episode, me and Joseph made a bet for $500 that I would lose more weight than he would by the end of the year.
Okay.
And so I'm just like, I ain't getting a wheelbarrow. I'm going to walk this over there because this is exercise.
So no number on the bet, just most.
Well, in the moment while we were sitting here podding, it was just like whoever loses the most weight. But as an analytical fellow, I'm just like, well, wait a minute. It might need to be percentage.
Like half or
I know it needs to be.
No, but I think it's good, right? Like if you put a number on it, it's like if you just set out and say, I'm going to do this for this period of time and these are the ways I'm going to get there.
Yes. But what's funny is like I made the bet with him because I didn't figure he would participate. And so I made the bet with him because look, if there's one thing that you know about Tim Hollis, know this. I can lose the hell out of weight, but I can also gain it back really good.
I feel that.
I'm very good at gaining it back. So Joseph probably knows that like I am good at losing weight.
Yeah.
But then
by the end of the year,
I go through my cycles and I'll be on it hardcore for about 4 or 5. I'm good for about 4 or 5, 6 months, maybe.
Summertime.
And then I just blow it up.
I'm the same way, man.
Blow it to hell.
I'm the same way.
And so Joseph has been texting me. I finally got him roped in.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he's in it. It's like he's losing weight. He's actively like dieting and exercising. I'm like, oh shit. I guess I'm gonna have to try with this.
You have to keep an eye on Joseph. He might just be getting Ozempic or something.
That's you know what?
He's doing all this stuff.
I don't even care. I don't even
fine.
Because the way that I see it, we bet $500. And regardless of what happens, it's because I told him in the podcast, I said, we need to be sitting here in February of 2027, 50 pounds lighter or 100 pounds lighter. And it's like, if we achieve that, I don't care if I have to pay him $500.
Yeah.
Because we both win.
It's cool, man.
Because we're both thinner, because we're the last of the Hollis bunch. And our ongoing joke, which it's a joke to us, but not really. But we're waiting to see who kicks over first. which is really bad. It's like, I hate that we say that, but like we're trying to, it's a race to see who outlives the other.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I get the wood and I start bringing it over. I got like 50 or 60 pieces of it. And I'm just like, this sucks. I don't feel like doing this anymore.
Just cracking up at that.
It's so of course it starts raining and I was like, I'm not like a wood expert or anything, but like I think it's supposed to be covered in the rack that I bought came with like a cover.
Wow.
So I put the cover on it a quarter of the way full and I was like, I'm going to finish this project tomorrow. And then tomorrow came and you know what happened?
You didn't finish it.
I was watching Homeland. I didn't have time. I didn't have time to finish it.
I'm gonna have to see this rack when I get out. This sounds like a fancy.
It's not
situation.
It's
here.
like a $50 rack.
Is it like one of the round?
No,
ones?
it's not one of those. It's one. It's like it holds a rick of wood, so it's like whatever the dimensions are. Somebody out there that knows the dimensions of a rick of wood's gonna say something, but it's like the whatever the rick of wood is, and so it's supposed to hold it. And I was like, when I got it in and I put it together, I'm like, I ain't going to hold all the wood out there, which I was happy about because the guy probably brought me a hell of a lot more wood than what I paid for.
Yeah.
And so I'm not mad about that. But I'm not going to have a fireplace pretty soon, so I'm going to have to just burn wood.
I mean,
which
nothing wrong with that.
So to wrap up that story, if you go to my front porch, which I'll take you up there when we finish, there will be a lot of wood still on the front porch.
Some wood off. I could use some.
But yeah, so I thought it was funny because like I could just say, hey Jack, all that wood that's right there on the front porch,
it's gotta get moved.
I need you to stack it on here. But I didn't tell him that because like I need the exercise because all of a sudden Joseph has decided to join the game, which I didn't think he was going to do, and we're in a hardcore battle to the death.
An old-fashioned weight off.
It is a weight off, and hopefully we can both stick to it. But I know me, which, like I said, I'm good for a few months, but I don't know that he's actually actively tried to lose weight.
When football season rolls around, for me, that's when it gets tough because there's a lot of, when we go over to my in-laws' house and watch the Bills on Sundays and all the snacks are out and there's chili and all. That's when it gets tough. And then Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever. So,
but here's the problem, Zach. Come on, man. You're a good-looking fella, young. You could probably pack on some weight now because you're not getting any younger.
No.
But here's the problem. When you're my age, your baseline is fat. So the baseline is fat. I think that if I can get my baseline down to not fat,
right,
and
scientific,
then, I'm a scientist with being fat. If me and Joseph can get our baseline down to not as fat, then we can just bounce in between 10 pounds of not being fat,
you never know,
as opposed to being fat, and then bouncing in between like 10, 50 pounds of being fat.
Here's the thing, Tim. Too hard on yourself, man. You're doing great.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I really do appreciate that. But I issue you a warning as a man that is getting older. How old are you now?
31.
You're 31. You're in your 30s.
Yep.
I would like to say that, like, listen, Zach, in my 30s, I messed it all up. But no, I messed this up when I was like 15. So you might be okay.
You can look at it two ways, right? It's a marathon,
That's
not
true.
a sprint.
That's true.
Picking up a few pounds in a marathon is not the worst thing in the world. It's okay.
It is. But listen, that kind of attitude, Zach, and that kind of enabling is going to keep me fat. And I'm starting to think that maybe the enemy has reached out to you. Maybe Joseph has said, hey, encourage Tim to continue.
He said, I want $500.
Yeah, because Joseph's like, I'll toss you $100 if you convince Tim that he looks fine.
There's no collusion happening, I promise.
I know there's not. But anyway, so that's funny. We have that going. So hopefully through 2026, we can, me and him both will lose weight and we'll be healthier and we both win. I
hope that happens for you, man.
That does. So anyway, we were talking earlier about the President's podcast, which I will go ahead and tell everyone that Mike and I had planned to podcast on a couple presidents tonight, and I secretly invited Zach to participate. He probably studied all up on Monroe. Wink, wink. Probably about as much as I do, whatever
I was going to.
I know. Listen, I usually study it before we go on.
Right.
But like you were going to join us for James Monroe, but
That's right.
Mike ended up having a situation that he couldn't be here, so now here we are.
Here's what I do know about James Monroe.
Okay, tell me.
He was the 5th president.
That's true, he was.
That's all I know.
That's okay. So the President's Podcast, Zach told me that he listened to GW.
Old G-Dub, man.
And learned a little something about his teethers.
Yeah. I mean, had no idea that those weren't actually wood. And I think if you polled a lot of people, they would probably say the same.
I know, because we were taught in school that he's like, I pictured George Washington as this guy that he's out there in his tights and his wig
perfectly
or whatever.
Slicked back white curled hair. And
curled hair. And he's
on
out
the front
there
of the canoe.
chopping wood.
Yeah.
And, chopping down the cherry tree.
That's right, yeah.
With his wood teethers.
Yep.
But that's not the case.
Apparently. I learned that in the President's Podcast.
Well, I will give you another disclaimer that, like, Larry could have done me wrong. And those of you that don't know, Larry is what I named my ChatGPT.
I need to name mine. I haven't named it.
You should name it, because it's really funny when you do. Because I'll be like, Larry, listen. A lot of times I'm like, Larry, comma, you really fucked me on this one. And then he'll be like, oh, hey, sorry, Tim. You may be right. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, I don't want your repetitive apologies. I want you to fix it.
I hate when you are trying to do something and it's like, now before I finalize this, let me just ask you a couple questions. And it asks me the questions and I say, I've already told you this. It's like, I understand your frustration, but we need to clarify a few things. And it's the same stuff over and over. I'm like,
what's funny is it can scour all of the internet, but it can't scour your conversation that you had with them.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. And I've been told I'm too mean to my chat, but I'd like to think that I'm just trying to make it better.
I agree with that. And there's two ways that people look at this. And apparently after our conversation the other day, I've learned that you are in my camp. In my camp, because I've seen people like at work or something, they'll be like, they're like typing to it. They're like, hey, chat, can you please blah, 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 blah. Thanks, exclamation point.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
Like it's a person. It's not a person.
I'm like, no. I go in there and I'm like, do this.
Yep. Right.
Do that. But now, since I named it, I say, Larry, comma.
You treat it more like a human.
I do treat it like a human, but then I cuss at it and I'm mean to it. Not mean to it like, like if I would cuss at you, like if we're casually talking back and forth,
right.
Like I'll tell it when it messes up. I mean, like, Larry, you really did me in on this one.
I think it needs to know.
And what's funny is like, it'll say that back to me. He's like, Tim, no bullshit here. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no, that is bullshit, Larry.
It is. I don't know if they're all the same because mine is mine. Right. But like, it is a gaslighter to the fullest degree. It's always like, you're right about how you're thinking about this. You're going about this exactly like you should. Oh yeah, great catch. That's correct. And I'm like, I wouldn't
have listen, Larry, I don't need me to catch these problems.
That's why
I need you to I need you to catch these problems.
Yes.
It's like, if I'm asking it something and I'm just like, hey, I was asking it something today. I was like, hey, I need this, and this. And it will like, give me all the things. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's good. But then I'll ask it something where like, I kind of know the answer, but I'm not 100% sure. Mm-hmm. And it'll be like, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, Larry,
not even close.
That ain't right.
Yeah.
What web are you scouring? Are you scouring like porno sites or the dark web or something?
Because it's not right.
Because what you're saying is not right. So yeah. I can't, it irritates me because I can't 100% trust it. So,
well, and when will we ever?
Well, I don't know that we would ever. Well, that's what I was gonna say. The people in the other camp, and I don't want to say I'm an asshole to him, but I correct him when he's wrong.
Yeah. Well, and
then,
you're helping other people, right? Because then when somebody else has the same
I know.
conversation, it's now learned a model, right, to get it correct.
Yeah.
So,
But other people are of the well, there's three camps. There's our camp, and then another camp is like, well, I need to be nice, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, whatever. It's not a human.
yeah,
We don't need to act like it's a human.
no.
And then the other camp is like, well, we need to be nice in case they take over. I'm like, they don't care.
So I've been told, my brother-in-law told me, we were having a conversation. I was like, yeah, I told him too mean to my chat. And he said, well, you can look at it this way. Whenever they do take over, they'll be at your door to take you out.
I know. I would like to think, though, that Larry is like, Tim's pretty cool.
Yeah, he can see through what he knows what you're trying to do.
Yeah, it's like, because I'm generally nice to him. I'm not just like, you're the dumbest thing
Well, I think
ever.
maybe Larry needs to be a little more coachable.
I'm not abusing Larry.
No.
I'm just like saying, like, no, Larry, you're not right. I'm correcting it.
People need to hear that.
People need to hear that.
Everything needs to hear that.
Yeah, everything needs to hear that, because old ChatGPT, I want him to be trustworthy. And so every time when me and Mike have done these president's podcasts, because it took me literally 2 days to get it in the format of like every time that we have a president, I want it to be like, here's all these things.
The formatting. And
This is what I wanted to say. And then when we get to the next president, okay, do the next president, and it gives me the same formatting.
Yep.
And so you understand that, like, there's a lot that goes into making sure that, but I don't know if I can trust the data. So so that's why I give the disclaimer, like, hey, if you're like a historian or someone that knows better, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
I just pay monthly for chat, and it's wrong. So.
Larry, and so, like, I will tell Larry when he did me wrong, and it'll be like, oh, hey, sorry about that. I'm like, no, sorry's not good enough.
There's people listening to this.
It's like I could, if you told me some information and then I went and repeated it, say I was the president of the United States.
Yeah.
And
That'd
Zach,
be wild.
And Zach says, hey, Tim, here's this thing. And then I go and tell the American people all of these things. And then it turns out to be wrong. And I go back to you and I say, hey, you were wrong. And you're just like, sorry. Oops. No. And that's what it's like. At least you as a human be like, oh, damn, I thought I had that. But Larry doesn't give a shit.
What's the story behind Larry? Why is Larry the name?
All right. So between Christmas and New Year, Nikki and I went to Gatlinburg, and we were sitting in a Mexican restaurant.
El Burro Loco?
No.
On the Strip?
That might have been it.
Did you sit up top?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that place. And so we're sitting there, and everything that I do, I always find myself on here saying, I had a few beverages and then this.
As one does.
So I had a few beverages, and I told Nikki, I was like, I'm going to name my ChatGPT. I'm tired of just feeling like I'm talking to a phone or a computer screen.
Yeah.
She's like, all right. She's like going on back in her business. And so I texted ChatGPT and I said, hey, I want to give you a name. Do you have any suggestions? And it comes back and it was like, you can just call me Chat. But and I said, I don't want.
Everybody calls you.
I was like, I don't want that answer.
Yeah.
What do you want to be? I'm nice to
So you're the one that's training them, though, to take over the world, because now they have names.
I know, you're probably right. I'm part of the problem. I'm like, what do you want? But it did come back and it's like, well, give me some suggestions and I'll pick one. I'm like, okay. And so I was sitting there thinking, because like I like to name things funny things. So for example, my lab's name is Bennett. It's a person name.
Yeah, I like that.
And my Labradoodle is Frank.
I love
Which is
old man names for dogs.
Old man names. And so I was there thinking, and I gave him like 2 or 3 options, but one of them was Larry, because I was like, Larry's funny.
Yeah. And can you really get mad at a Larry? It'd be tough.
All the Larrys out there, I'm sorry if you're offended, because I thought it was funny. And so I came back and I was like, what do you think about Larry? And it's like accommodating. It's like, oh, I like it if you like it,
Yeah.
whatever. And I'm just like, no,
Shut the heck up.
I
Tell me
want-
what you want.
I want to know what you want. And it didn't ever give me an answer, so I named it Larry.
Yeah.
So what's funny now is like, because when I'm mad about something, I'll just be like, Larry, blah, 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 blah. And it'll be like, Tim, this is bullshit. And he'll start like cussing back at me. He's like, no, no bullshit here, this and that and the other. And it's like telling me all these things. And I'm just like, that's how I want someone to talk to me.
Do you pay for it?
I do.
Me too. Yeah. I used the free version for so long, and then I was trying to do some stuff, and it was taking forever, and the model was outdated.
pictures and all that.
Yeah. And I was like, actually, I think it was the night, I think I signed up the night that we were all texting, and I sent that picture of Joseph as a Simpsons character working on his car, because I tried to do that, like, to get it right so many times.
And it's like, you got to wait till tomorrow.
Yeah. And I was like, forget that. I want this now.
I know. I think I probably signed up around the same time because I realized, and it's fine. It's like $20, $25 a month or whatever.
What's another $20?
But that's the problem is like that on top of like all of the streaming platforms and everything else.
Yeah.
And that's how they rope you in.
100%.
Everything ropes you in.
Yep.
Maybe I need to start charging for the podcast. So that then the 21 listeners will turn into like none. No, for a free podcast.
Do a little fundraising account.
It would, yeah, I would have to do that. But it is better when you pay for it.
Oh, 100%.
It's like, of course, well, now that he's Larry and we've established that, it's like I feel better about it because it's like I'm talking to a friend that knows everything.
And you can't get rid of him now. Larry knows that he's around forever.
Well, it's funny because I was asking him about something, which we'll talk about in a second. I was talking to him about vending machines and stuff like that. I've opened a vending machine company.
Okay.
For
Let's go.
the listeners that care or don't care.
Yeah.
And so I'm like getting information from him. And so he's telling me the things and he's like, this will help you fund your podcast and help you fund this. And you're already this person at a landscape. And I'm just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And I'm like, oh yeah, I already told him.
It knows too much.
Yeah, it knows too much.
Same way. Yeah.
So I'm just kind of like I'm kind of like there in the middle because like I like it because I want him to know me and already refer back to other conversations.
Yep.
But at the same time, I'm kind of like, it's kind of weird.
Yeah. But also, it's like, I mean, I usually, like, if I need to fix something on the car or in my house or whatever, like, I'll get on YouTube and find a video for it. Sometimes I don't want to sit there and, scroll through the video to get to what I'm looking for, or I don't know that that's the problem.
Yeah.
So, like, on my truck, I was having an issue where, like, the sunroof was, like, making this weird noise and whatever, and I just got on chat and I was like, here's what's going on. I need, like, options to fix it because I know that somebody on the internet at some point has talked about this.
Yeah.
And it went through, like, 5 things that it could be. And it's like, if you do this and this happens, then that's not the problem. And finally, like, get to the point, and I'm like, we fixed this. Like,
did it help you?
Yeah. And I would have to spend thousands of dollars at the dealer to get it fixed. And I could do it myself in 20 or 30 minutes and all good. And I don't know if somebody on YouTube has a video about that, but I could just type it in chat and work, so that kind of stuff. Like I'm all in for it.
No, I agree. I think that it's good for all of that kind of stuff. But I guess I have a bad taste in my mouth about some things because kind of inside baseball here, but like trying to figure out my studio here and the things that I need. And it's like, I know certain things about the devices that I have so I'll ask questions about it and then it'll be like, blah, 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 blah. And I'll say, are you sure? Because I read it. And then it's one of those situations where like, hey, oh yeah, you're right, Tim.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling me out on that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't trust you now, Larry.
It makes it hard.
I know.
Trust issues with Larry.
But like, that's why I think that I am worried about the president stuff, but not too much because like if it's solid facts, I think that it might be an issue when we get into more modern presidents because it's going to be like opinion.
Yep.
And you'll be able to see like what the opinion of it is.
Like historian facts and more. Yeah.
Because way back then it was just like, here are the facts. There's no video of it, no transcription of whatever. So I think that when we probably get into like, like the 30th, 40th president, when things are a little bit more documented, it's going to be more opinion based. And so I'll have to watch it. But I think right now it's okay.
How are you going to get through, and this may just be a me thing, but like from 10 to like 35, I don't know if I can name.
Well, the thing is, though, is like you'll probably, when the episode comes out, you'll be like, oh, yeah. I've heard of this president.
But I feel like nothing really happened.
I think that things did happen. And my plan for that is, like I said, that's why I designed it to be like the things that are known, unknown, blah, 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 blah. But like, hopefully the things that are known are like big things to where you can say like, today, you're like, oh, that's why that's like that. Oh, that's why there's this situation.
I'm excited to hear y'all talk about like Watergate.
Yeah, that'll be. We will probably talk about that, which is funny because Watergate's like nothing compared to like all the stuff that's happened
it's
now.
Crazy.
That would like ruin his presidency.
You said something during the GW episode that I really resonated with, was how you look back at old times and think that when you looked through your eyes that it looked old. And I do that all the time where I'm like, there's a dog.
That's Frank. Frank, get.
Hey, Frank. Hey, buddy.
Frank paws. As he's just going to bark. You know what's funny that you say that is because I felt so dumb saying that. But like,
I totally agree with it.
In my mind, it's like, picture this. You see these really grainy, awful pictures from like the Civil War or whatever. And so in your mind, you're just thinking like, okay, that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
But no, it's just as real as us sitting here.
Yeah. No, it's a great point. And like, I know that it's not true, but
yeah,
we're so used to in our day and age, like the photo quality that we see looks like real life and the movie and all that kind of stuff. So you just kind of get this in your mind, like, well, that's what it must have looked like because it's crazy. I guess it is crazy to like say that.
It's almost not like that's what it looked like because I don't think that I thought that that's what it looked like, but I guess that's just the image that I have in my mind because that's all that I have.
100%.
Because I've never imagined if I was in that situation.
Yeah.
And so there's always like in my TikTok feed, I've talked about my TikTok feed. It's always like conspiracy theories, space, time travel, all the things that I love.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's this guy on there. He's like a Hispanic guy. I think he's Mexican. And he's like this time traveler, or he has this way. And oh, look, he's with Queen Elizabeth of the whatever, 200 years ago. And it's like all perfect and looks good and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, that's fake. And that's when it started getting me thinking, or like he had a video where they were constructing the White House and all of this kind of stuff. And there's builders and doing all the things. And I was like, that's ridiculous. But then I started thinking about it. I'm like, well, if we were back in that time and we had our phones to take videos of that stuff, well, that's what it would look like.
Yep.
Instead of like the grainy, like, Civil War where Abraham Lincoln's giving the Gettysburg Address with his big top hat on, all of that would be the same, but it would be clear and fine.
Yeah. I know. I heard, when you said it, I was like, you know what? Yeah.
I felt really dumb when I said it because I didn't think people would, because that's like the story of this podcast. I'm just like, do people think, because I'm an idiot.
I think that more people, like when you say stuff, I feel like there are more people that resonate with things that you may think are like, you're the only one. You're not, with anything.
Because to me, that was the biggest thing, and I'll never forget it. When I think I told Mike when we were recording that podcast, I was driving home from work, and it was just like in my head, like I couldn't get it out of my head that like we just think of these pictures, or we think of the portrait of George Washington, or we think of the things that we see back then, and that's just our vision of it. And part of the reason that I have the AI images of like us and George Washington is just to kind of, I don't know if that's what he really looked like in the AI image, but like I just wanted to put a real.
Yeah, it was fun. I like it was fun. It was a good touch.
It's like I just wanted to put like so we would feel it and see it for what it likely was.
Yeah,
because even thinking about when him and I were talking about George Washington getting on a horse and, you know, walking into town or whatever, like I'm trying to play that in my mind. And the problem that we have right now is like it's hard for us to use our imaginations of what that would be because we're so inundated with like TV and all the things.
Yep.
And so I'm trying to
get in the car and
get in the car, you know, like the Lewis and Clark expedition and all that kind of stuff is like, it's not just like put in your Apple Maps or your Google Maps and go and do it. It's just like these guys are going out there and not knowing what they're going to see.
I think that goes into the second thing that you said is that wasn't really that long ago.
I know.
Like it really wasn't. It was what, 2-3 grandparents ago, roughly. That's crazy.
I think that the crazier point in it all is look at our technology.
Yeah.
And look at our technology.
Now you have Larry.
I have Larry, and I kind of felt dumb for consistently bringing up Steve Jobs in that conversation, but Steve Jobs is the one that turned the corner in all of this to where we're at right now. Mm-hmm. We couldn't have a Larry without Steve Jobs. We couldn't have we couldn't have any of this technology that we have if there wasn't a guy that was kind of an asshole that stood his ground and said, no, I want it like this.
Yep.
And we can do this.
Yep.
Be better. Be better.
Which is all we want for Larry and for Chad. You're like Larry's Steve Jobs.
Maybe I'm going to tell Larry tomorrow, or maybe you know what? I might tell him tonight. Larry, I'm going to need you to be better moving forward.
I expect more from you.
But it's very interesting, though. You know, it's so interesting because I always, even back in biblical days and all that kind of stuff, we just have to picture none of this is here. Not that door, not the windows, not any of this stuff. Because like when I was doing mission work very heavily in Haiti and Mexico and other places that I've been, they don't have any of this stuff. Mm-hmm. And so it really did feel like a step back into time. And then I've been talking to Chris Cavey about the military stuff, him being in Afghanistan. It's just like
those are cool.
We are the exception here.
Yeah.
And I want people to understand that like here in the United States, we are the exception. And it's like, it's just crazy to think.
And if this is all you know, you think that out there in the rest of the world, it's, going to be exactly the same or better or whatever. And people who, if you've never left, you don't really know how good you have it. And that's not to be like Homer, America's at the best. But if you go out into the rest of the world and you see how other people live or try to survive, it's very, I don't know. You just kind of take a step back and you're like, wow, it's even for all the bad things and all the faults and whatever you could come up with for our country and whatever, it's pretty dang good.
Yeah, that's the thing that I hope that we get the most out of in the president's podcast is that I'm not proud, the country's not proud of a lot of things that we've done. I'll be the first one to tell you that we've done some messed up stuff as I'm reading this. But like, look at where we were and look at where we are now in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
There's a book called The 5,000 Year Leap that I read years ago. And that just kind of describes all of it to where, just our industrial revolution and all the stuff that's happened to get us to where we are today. Light years past all of these other countries and all that kind of stuff. It's just crazy to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the president's thing is, I don't know how you came up with it. I don't know the story behind it, but I think it's a great idea. And I think that like people are really going to like it, resonate with it.
Well, hopefully they'll like it. I think that it'll be fun, and we definitely want to get you back when we do another one. You can pick your president.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm loosely related to Franklin Pierce.
Okay.
I think I told you that. And I couldn't give you one interesting fact about the guy.
Is Franklin Pierce a president?
Yeah. Yeah, and exactly my point. He's somewhere in that between 10 and 35 range.
Hang on, I'm going to look him up right now.
Frank Loin.
That's the problem when you get old, folks, is you can't see very good, especially when you got these small monitors.
Yeah, there's our guy, the 14th president.
14th president of the United States, Northern Democrat who supported Southern positions on slavery.
Yeah.
His administration is noted for Kansas-Nebraska Act, which intensified sectional conflict. His personal life was marked by tragedy, and his wife Jane falling into deep mourning after her last son died. Well, Franklin,
I don't know about it. He might be a controversial fellow.
you can come in and talk about Franklin. You're like my grandpa, Franklin
Maybe I should
Pierce.
come in for somebody to.
Most people would be like, I want to come in for Abraham Lincoln. You're like, no, you know Abraham Lincoln. Come in for somebody that you don't know.
Yeah, what the heck? I'll come in for that one when you get there. 14.
Look at this. Look at this hair, though. Look at that. Look at that hair.
Yeah.
That's like the pompadour on steroids right there. And that's fine.
It's a good sketch. Wonder who did that.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen a pompadour on steroids, but
Click that one that says, was Franklin Pierce a heavy drinker? I'm curious about this. Yes.
Yes.
He sure was.
it's widely considered to have struggled with alcoholism,
Oh, no.
a problem exacerbated by immense personal. Look, what I think that the first few presidents, you'll see it with Thomas Jefferson that's coming out, like all of his kids died,
Yeah.
but like 2 of them. These guys had like hundreds of kids back then, and all of them die.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Different
just
time.
Yeah, it's a different time. It's funny
You
because
had to have 100, so two would make it.
what are we like fish? A fish lays like 1 million babies, and maybe like 20 of them survive it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
During that time.
Yeah, during that time for sure. But it's crazy to think all of these presidents had these kids. I was really surprised, and I don't know why I didn't think of it, but George Washington didn't have any kids.
Really?
Yeah, there was no carrying on the family name.
Huh.
It's just crazy. I mean,
Are we sure about that? Did Larry tell you that?
let's look.
I mean, that's wild. I did not know that.
Did George Washington have kids? See, he did not have any biological children of his own. However, he raised his wife Martha's 2 children from a previous marriage.
Probably was told that in school and have just really
Yeah.
put that away. That's wild.
But that's why you don't see like George Washington's I am George Washington's great granddaughter
Yeah, I
or
guess.
whatever, you know? It's
Yeah.
like, but like that's what's fun about the podcast is that George, you know, they didn't want this, you know, like in Great Britain where
Like
there
a
was
monarchy.
yeah,
kinda.
monarchy
Yeah.
to where there was like King George
Yeah.
the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, you know, all this different lineage. But the problem is like you can look through history, and I know that we're just looking at modern history, but even John Adams, and there was John Quincy Adams was a president, and so it's like it's in there.
Yeah.
It's like those tendencies are in there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
That's crazy. I did not know that. Well, when we were talking too about your trip that you said you were going to take, and when I heard that about telling you that you had to go to Monticello to see Thomas Jefferson's house, and
Yeah.
I mean, just really like I saw it as a kid, and even as a kid, I think I was, you know, enamored and starstruck by it too, which I think is probably leaning into like my architectural, you know, side, whatever. But as a kid, like seeing that house and them talking about the facts and how he did these certain things with the windows and whatever, I was just amazed by it. I think you got to go see that.
I'm really excited to see it. I don't know if I said this in one of the episodes, but Nikki's scheduling us like probably the thing is like 4 or 5 days isn't going to cover what I want to see.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do longer, but the plan is in May, we're going to go to the Monticello and like hit that because it's before you get to Mount Vernon, Washington, D.C., and all that. But man, it's like I'm so interested. I've always been interested in it as an adult, but not interested enough to like, I guess every time because we've been poor all of our marriage. And so like anytime we've ever been able to go somewhere, we need to go somewhere to relax. And in my mind, that's the beach. I need to go to the beach and just unwind.
Yeah.
I need to sit on the beach and just leave the world behind.
Do nothing.
But now it's like I'm at the point like where the kids are grown up and we got a little bit more money. Hey, let's go see these things.
Yeah.
And so to be able to hit that, I want to see Washington, D.C. really bad. And I want to see all of the things, but you know, a few days isn't going to cover that.
There's a lot to see. You've never been to Washington,
I've
D.C.?
never been there.
Wow.
Have you been there?
Well, I
guess
several times, and then I did that internship. I lived with my family in Arlington there, so I spent a summer there before I graduated, and
Yeah.
it was very cool. Really liked it.
Well, it'd be fun to see like all of the historical documents, go to visit the museums. And that's the problem with me. And maybe other people can relate to this. Like, I just want all of the things. And I build these expectations up to where, okay, I'm going to go to Washington, D.C., and I'm going to see all of the things. And when I get home 4 days later, I'm going to know and see all of the things. But I'm trying to get that out of my mind and say, I'm going to go to these places and visit. I'm going to soak in what I can and have an understanding that I'm going to have to go back a few different times to really capture everything.
Yeah. If you go, I mean, I know it's like kind of a history-based trip, but you think you'll go to like the Smithsonian, like Air and Space and all that while you're there? Or?
I want to, but I really think that, well, it depends on how long we go for.
I mean, I feel like you need a week, especially if you're gonna drive.
Yeah, we're gonna drive.
Yeah.
We'll probably end up taking a week.
Yeah.
I think that a week's probably better to at least pack in. The thing is I don't want it to be like rushed.
Like you're on the go all the time.
Yeah, I want to go to the Monticello and I want to be able to mill about, not be like, oh, we gotta leave so we can go to this. However long it takes is how long it takes.
You gonna do like Jamestown and Williamsburg and all that?
Yeah, I want to go. I want to hit all the things.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, is like you can't really hit all of the things because that's like where the country was founded, and
there's a lot to take in
through all that area.
And those are really like, I mean, Monticello, Jamestown, Williamsburg. I feel like those are days, like on their own, and then you have to drive in between all the places. So yeah. Now, DC, it's great because everything is very kind of compact, close together. And my point in bringing up the Air and Space is just, if you do go, the one on the mall is great. There's another one that's near Dulles Airport. Way better.
Really?
Way better. Yeah.
You're going to have to give me the info on that.
Yeah. I didn't even really know about it until I went up there for that summer internship and saw this Reddit thread, and all these people were like, oh, no, you got to go to, it's called the Udvar-Hazy Center. And they have more like actual, I mean, they have the space shuttles in there and like just real like huge air. It's like a big hangar.
Yeah.
And it's like all this stuff. And they have like IMAX theater and whatever, which I know it's not history based, but I like planes. So you gotta check it out.
I was going to ask you about some plane stuff. I know that we talked about it in the past.
Well, they're gone. It's gone.
I know the plane.
The whole place is gone.
The place is gone, but the rumor is that it moved to Bon Aqua.
Oh.
So the plane is probably still for sale.
You think they flew it over there?
Probably not. It'd be awesome if they did.
Well, we know.
But not only is I'm going to call you ZC.
It's fine, yeah.
Because I called Chris CC, and I don't think he liked it. But I mean, I'm going to call you ZC, is also a pilot. Unofficially a pilot.
Yeah.
But to me, in my mind, that means that you know about planes. And I don't know about planes.
Okay.
All I know is I need to be at the airport at this time. I need to go through security.
Yep.
And then I walk through this thing that hooks up to a plane, which some may call it a terminal.
The jet bridge.
The jet bridge. And then I see a small gap.
Yeah.
To where I'm like, I hope I don't fall here. which I won't because it's very small, and I get on a plane. But like, that's not what that, I mean, a plane is actually this big machine
Yeah.
that thrusts into the air and takes you somewhere.
Pretty incredible when you think about it, like
It's-
what we can do and how we take it for granted, and it just doesn't matter to people, I guess.
Well, I don't really take it for granted because to me, and I've been on an airplane a lot of times at this point. And what's funny is like up until literally I was your age, like I'd never been on a plane or done anything. And then from that point on, like I'm on planes all the time. And it's so, even to this day, as many flights as I've taken, and I sit down next to somebody and we're about to take off and they're just like laying back, going to sleep. I'm like, no, we need to watch this because this is awesome.
Yeah.
To just all of a sudden be like, all right, ready for takeoff. And it's just like push the gas pedal or whatever it is. And it's just like throws you back, and we thrust.
We hurl through air.
We thrust this machine
Yeah.
that's bigger than we can imagine into the air,
Hundreds of people.
into the air, and get them safely on the other side.
It's pretty incredible.
It's like, I don't understand how all that works, and I'm not expecting you to explain to me how all that works. But the one question that I have is that I know you haven't flown like a commercial plane or anything like that, but the planes that you have flown, what are all those buttons that you see everywhere? It seems very complicated, but is it really complicated? Because look, I've worked in music all of my life, and I know that people see like these big mixing boards and they're just like, I don't know what all that is, but it's very simple when you break it down.
I think that you would transition to it just fine with all of this that you have going on, because at the end of the day, I mean, in a commercial airliner, like, yes, there's a ton of buttons and they all function on various systems and you have to do all these things to start the plane and whatever. But like, if you just got into like a Cessna with a propeller and a couple seats, like, yes, there are lots of buttons and switches and knobs, but really when you boil it down, you're not doing things with all of them all the time.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them get set, or at some point in your flight, you adjust a setting or whatever. So like, yes, when you first look at it, it's like, oh my gosh,
it's very intimidating.
Yeah. But really, no. I mean, the objective is, you have your yoke, you have your pedals for the rudder, and you have your, I guess, throttle adjustment. And then on a propeller plane, you have mixture for like the oil to make it, more rich or less rich. And
so what's the difference in like the plane that we've been talking about for months? I mean,
that one's interesting because they're using basically a jet ski engine. So there's just not as much going on, and you're at a low enough altitude where you're really not, there's just not as much going on.
Yeah.
You kind of just get in and go kind of deal. So that one, I mean,
yeah, but like
really
what,
do it.
but if you can thrust a plane, like a small plane up into the air and you're, flying about, like what is all the buttons that would
radios, autopilot,
so
oxygen. I mean, just de-icing. I mean, there's so many systems on a commercial jet compared to, what we're talking about.
But I what I've read, and this could be completely off, is that like the pilot is basically taking off and landing. Everything else is kind of like automated.
Yes, but it's still,
you got to watch it. It's like Larry.
Yeah, well, yeah. And it depends too. I mean, I think I'm going to probably speak way out of term here, and you'd have to maybe have my dad on or something to talk about this stuff, but
don't worry. Somebody will say something if you're wrong.
Yeah, please correct me. I don't care. I think in today's day and age with commercial aviation, most of the time, yes. And a lot of times there's even auto landing involved and all that kind of stuff. But all of those systems have to be programmed beforehand.
Yeah.
So you're calculating all of your weight and fuel, your weight and passengers, the center of gravity of the aircraft. And then it's calculating like your thrust necessary at takeoff to achieve certain like altitudes. You're programming in all your waypoints so that your navigation system knows like what route to follow to get you from point A to point B. Like there's a lot that goes into the pre-flight planning that happens, you know, in the hours leading up to a flight.
Yeah.
Then that you just aren't aware of when you're sitting on the plane going through the sky, you know, just chilling. So yes, I think I would say that like a pilot now is certainly a manager of systems and people when you're in the cockpit, more so than you're hand flying the plane. But I would say that, yeah, I mean, they're taking off and they're landing. Yeah. Which are the two most dangerous parts of a flight anyway. So I'd rather have the person doing it.
Well, it's always really weird because like sometimes you can't really tell when you're taking off because it's just like, you know, when you're kind of off the ground but the landing you always remember.
Yeah.
And so for me, most of the landings have been fine, but there's been some that I'm just like, we're getting sideways.
Yeah.
Landing this plane. It's like, what causes all that?
Wind,
like,
mostly.
Coming in hot.
Yeah. I mean, on a hot day, you get some ground effect. You lose lift because the air, on a hot day is thin, so you lose lift. So many things.
Can that stuff be automated, like landing it, or does it have to be done by a human?
No, most of these, I mean, I think all of these commercial airlines we have now have an auto land feature.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
so
it's kind of adjusting to like all the wind and any
I think
other thing.
Like when weather factors in, on a really low visibility day, you have different categories of landings. So you have instrument, they call it ILS, so instrument landings. And, I think, I don't know how many categories, but like Cat 3, Cat 2, Cat 1, they're like different.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And now I've gone well beyond my knowledge of this. But these are things that I've overheard or.
We won't hold you to it, Zachary. Yeah. And that's fine because the only thing that you need to worry about is making sure that you can fly that plane that is now in Bon Aqua.
Yeah.
Because
what happened? Why did they leave Fairview?
I don't know. I guess they closed that dealership down, and it's funny because that dealership has been there since I've lived in Fairview, and that's been a long time.
When I came through town, I passed the Shady Shell. Shady Shell?
Good job. Shady Shell across from the co-op.
And I was like, oh, I wonder if it's still there. And I look and I see just like a building with like an open field. And I was in my mind, I thought, well, I'm pretty sure that's where it was, but maybe it was a little further
Somebody
down.
bought everything over there.
Maybe it was a little further down the road. And I kept going. And then next thing I just never saw it. So
I thought that it was just gone forever, but somebody told me that they moved. I think it was because Riley brought it up to me. He was like, hey, our plane's gone. I was like, oh no. Oh yeah. I think it was Eric told us that they actually moved the whole dealership.
They had it listed for what, like $5,000-$6,000?
Yeah, it's like $5,000 or $6,000. You think it's worth it?
I don't know.
Is your life worth $5,000 or $6,000? Because we're going to put you in the driver's seat.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know.
If you feel uncomfortable with it.
I'm not up to the market on Rotax powered ultralights. I mean, I thought when we guessed, you were like, how much do you think it cost? And I said, I don't know, probably like $4,000 or $5,000. And I think it was a little bit higher.
Yeah.
But,
we could probably buy it for $3,500.
Yeah, we can talk. Well, especially if they had to move their dealer out of Fairview,
That's probably
maybe they need the money.
Yeah, that's probably true. So I was talking earlier about my vending machine expo here. I've been going through all the motions of, look, I want a mailbox check. This is not quite a mailbox check. There's obviously work in it. But I got my business license.
Yeah.
I got all the things. Fought with the IRS today about my EIN number and all that kind of stuff. Because I'm going to start putting vending machines out to set up your retirement,
How are you buying like secondhand machines? Or are you leasing them, or how does that work?
For now, I'm going to buy brand new ones.
Okay.
I'm just going to pay cash for them.
Are these like the crazy ones with like the arm that goes up? And
No, nothing like that. It's going to be like a normal vending machine for normal snacks, but it will have, the card reader, Apple Pay, Google Pay, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And where I'm going to start is at work. I'm going to put, because we got 7 branches.
Yeah, man.
Start putting them.
Low hanging fruit. Let's go.
Start putting them there. Even if I don't do any more than that, I'm just trying to set up like my retirement.
Yeah, man.
You know, just try to figure that out, and I think it will be received well. There's a lot of people that are in and out of there.
Give me your money.
Give me
I
your
heard
money.
you work here. Give me your money.
Yeah, man, you gotta do what you gotta do.
You do. There's no shame in hustling.
But I will buy new ones for all of that. I'm just gonna pay cash. I'm not gonna lease anything, because the reason I'm doing that is because I told you earlier that we did get approved to get our house remodeled.
Yeah.
So
Big time.
that's going to be a huge event for 2026. You'll probably hear me on here complaining about it.
What are y'all going to do?
So I'll show you the plans to it, but we're building a great room, a bigger living room. So we're going to turn our current living room into a dining room, and then have a big room. And then downstairs we'll have an extra bedroom, which I'm thinking about moving Holliswood Studios into the new room.
Okay.
But I do kind of like it out here separated.
It's cool. Yeah.
And so I haven't figured out what I'm going to do with that, but we're
Did you hire an architect, or who? Like, did you get plan? Like, who drew the plans? And
it was like Lynn Associates or something like
Okay.
that. It's out in Lenox Village.
okay,
He drew it up. Cost a lot of money. You guys cost too much money. All you LAs.
you guys.
LA. Well, this is not an LA. This is a
building architect.
a building architect. You got all you guys cost too much money just to draw the.
One might say we don't cost enough.
No, I could probably put it in ChatGPT and be like, "Hey, give me some architect plans."
All right, no. So hold on. Let's talk about this for a second.
You think Larry would do that?
No, because
All right,
well,
hold on.
yes.
A sec. I gotta pee. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, not landscape architects, but
Yeah.
all architects are way too expensive. And guess how much I paid to have the renderings drawn up?
I don't know, like somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000.
All right, I'm about to pull it up for you here, and you can see. This is my house, which
Did they come survey the interior of your
They
house?
did.
Yeah.
and so they
So
got
that
it.
costs money.
So this is like the new thing. So this is my house, and I know that the listeners don't know, and you probably don't even know, but my house ends right here. So the building is this big room here, and then this covered deck, which in turn makes my basement. This is my basement here. And so I have another room and more living room right here.
Yeah.
So
Got your address on there.
it does. Actually, I'm not going to show that. I'll show that to you. But anyway, I probably don't need to do that. I don't need one of the 21 crazies coming after me. but anyway, how much did you say you thought that was?
Well, I said somewhere between 3 and 5, but knowing that there was an interior survey involved, I might bump that up a little bit. Maybe like between 6 and 7.
You know what? Then I got a deal because it cost $3,600.
That's good. Yeah.
It was $3,000 for them to do it,
Yeah.
but then the builder that recommended me charged me an extra $600.
Gotcha.
Which is fine. I get it. We're in the same business, and I know that it takes their time and they're coordinating and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not mad about it, but it's good to know that it's probably in line with
Yeah.
what it should have been.
Yeah. And I also have no idea what an interior survey costs, but I figured if they were coming in and measuring your walls and stuff, that probably pumped it up a little bit. So that's actually, that doesn't seem bad at all.
Yeah.
3,500.
So all in all, we're building a living room.
Yeah.
Because Nikki, because it's just me and Joseph and my family, but Nikki's family is huge and it's very complicated, like getting everyone in.
Yeah.
And we're really happy about it. I will get on here and sound like I'm bitching about it, but I'm really happy to be able to provide an area for
Absolutely, man.
everybody to do it. And also with the kids getting older, we got 2 grandkids now, and as they get older, they can come out here.
Did they give you a opinion of cost in terms of like what it's going to cost to to build? And you don't have to say, but did you get all that? Like,
Well, they didn't, because this guy was suggested by the builder, and we know the builder because the family, like our neighbor over here, their son and grandson own the construction company, and they actually did some deck work for me out here.
okay.
That I paid nearly 20 grand for, that we're about to have ripped out. So they're going to, so they're like, you know, oh, hey, a year later, we're going to rip out the 20 grand you already spent.
Man.
Okay.
All right, whatever.
Okay. But anyway, so we're going to move forward with that for sure. But
I'll have to get that info from you before I leave, because we're talking about maybe trying to do something over at our place too. So
yeah, I mean, these people have been great. I mean, the architect or the architect with this, fantastic. The builders, we really like them, which is why, not only because they're the neighbor's family, but like they're pretty big here in Nashville, and they've been really good to us.
yeah,
And so I would definitely recommend them.
yeah,
For sure.
I would. What we're talking about, you know, doing like a garage with like an upstairs kind of deal, like attached onto the back, and then maybe busting out the wall of our primary and doing like because our house it's old, and the primary bedroom isn't connected to the main bathroom, and it's only a 1.5 bath house. So we're talking about like how we can make that work. And I've already drawn up plans on my own, so I just found out that I saved like $3,500.
Yeah, you did. You did save $3,500.
Yeah.
But what I will task you with, since you are, I had a plan at the beginning, and I said that you were the resident Fairview Social Podcast LA.
Right. Yeah.
I may need you to LA
Yeah, it's fine. Man.
my front yard and pool.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Get something. Listen, I got to get something for free.
Yeah, but look. Yeah.
You know what? I don't want it for free.
doesn't matter.
I'll pay your ass. That's fine.
Whatever. I don't care.
All right. So
You're the one that has all the hookup on all the plants and stuff. I just put it on paper.
I know you put it on paper, and then I'll get it installed somehow or another. But you had a story about it.
Yeah. So my story about this, you asked me, could I just put this in ChatGPT and it would pump out a floor plan? The answer is like, yes, but not really.
Larry.
Yeah.
And before we leave tonight, I need you to commit to a name for
I'll
yours.
make a name for mine. Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
So, and this is where it like spurred the conversation about I'm too mean to it, because I asked Chat to develop a site plan for something that I was looking at, just theoretically thinking like, can it do this? Because I've seen some stuff on LinkedIn about it pumping out floor plans, and they all look, at first glance, you're like, oh, wow, it did it. But then you really like drill into it. Like it's all pretty terrible. And so I asked it to do a very simple site plan. And what it gave me, it thought about it for like 10 minutes. You know, it tells you how long it thinks. And it was like 10 minutes, and it pumped it out. And it was garbage. You know, there was stuff that just, where the road like tied into the main, where the parking lot tied into the main road and the circulation. And it just didn't think about so many things. And so I asked it, I was like, if you're going to take over the world one day, like everybody's telling me, and you're going to take my job one day, you would think that this would be better. And it was like, well, I may not take your job, but I'm going to, you know, probably get rid of like the entry level type designers where we can, you know, AI can do this.
At least
and you can back check it and make it like more correct. And we're learning every day and we're getting better. And I was like, a entry-level designer wouldn't have even given me this. Like, it would have been way better. And it's like, oh, no, you thought about that so correct. Like, you know, gaslighting.
Yeah.
It's like, you thought about that correct, and you're right to question it. And the answer is, like, we're not there yet, and we're still learning. But don't worry, like, one day it will be better. And I'm like, so I kept going back and forth. It's like, yeah, but everybody's saying that you're coming for my job, like, in very soon. I'm going to be out of a career and whatever. And this is garbage. So to answer your question, I think that you could put it in there and get something that's maybe gets you started. But an architect is trained to think about the movements within a room, like the way light comes into a room, door swing, like all of this stuff that AI is. I mean, maybe one day it'll be able to do that, but it can't ever capture the human feeling.
Yeah, I think that you're right about that. It's funny because, like, I took this plan that I have edited out. at this point because I did show you, but since it had my address on it, I edited it. But I took the plan, and my expectation of the AI is that like it sees that this is a plan, and I said, give me you don't have to give me like a 3D walkthrough, and I took pictures of my house as it is now.
Yeah.
And I uploaded it like 10 pictures.
So when they come to get you, they've mapped out your house. So
I know.
they know how to get to you.
They know where I'm hiding. They know where I'm hiding. But I told it, I said, show me what and I know it's not going to be perfect. Maybe the couches, different,
Right.
And it's like, it just gave me like a house that it found on the internet. I was like, no, Larry.
Wrong.
Unacceptable.
Yep.
And it's like, my bad, Tim. I'm like, no, not my bad. It's like, because we talked on another podcast where ChatGPT does a pretty good job with things as long as you're very, 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 very specific.
Yep.
And so
you have to know how to keep your prompts going so it doesn't lose information.
I knew that from the beginning. And so I uploaded the plan here. I uploaded the pictures and I gave it like a paragraph that was like a foot long of like, here's all the, making sure that it had all the information. And it still came back with like somebody's house.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like, come on, Larry.
And you would spend so much time. You can go back and forth with it because I've done this where you think that you're just doing these little tweaks here and there. And then you realize you're like, dang, it's been 45 minutes. I've been going back and forth on this because you just get into it and you're like, you lose time. So like, this person is trained on how to do this and it looks from 20 feet away. It looks really nice. So I'm excited for you guys.
But you're right. It's like, I don't know that it will ever be able to capture a human's eye. I mean, the guy came out, sweetest guy I've ever met in my life. He came out and he was looking at things and like, he was older. He was probably in his 60s and he's seen thousands of these.
Yep.
And he came out and he was like looking at the angles and like, even when he presented this to us, he was like, thinking like these big windows here because the light's coming in and doing all this. And like, I was thinking to myself, I was like, ChatGPT will never be able to.
It doesn't have the context, right?
Yeah, it doesn't have context. It's like chat is just I don't want to say chat, but like all AI models are just looking at data.
Yep.
Data.
There's no emotion.
And so ChatGPT and other programs like that are wonderful for if you just need data. It will provide that. You need a spreadsheet made in a second. It'll make it. But like the human eye seeing something and trying to determine like, hey, I think that rather than doing this, we need to do that. It has to be looked at by a human. So I don't think that it could ever take, a person's job.
Which is the part of being a landscape architect that I love the most, right? Is like creating places that people interact with and enjoy and like going out and trying to capture the human emotion in a space. Like I love that more than anything. And that's what like really kind of made me like a building, I guess like I love real estate and development and all that stuff. And I love to be, working in that space someday, but the building itself like doesn't get me super excited. What gets me excited is like how people interact with everything around the building.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's like, what is their impression before they even walk into the building? Because honestly, and that's why we're in the landscape business. That's the stuff that people don't think that they know, don't even think about. But it does set the tone for like when they walk into a bank to go do a transaction or walk into a meeting and to do all these things. It's like, I said this on my last podcast that I've been watching American Idol and Belmont's on there. And I always tell Nikki, I'm like, look how beautiful it is. Yeah, that's us. Yeah. That's us. That's us. And other people
are still out there. Still out there, Belmont. Nice.
People are probably not thinking that. But if you were there at that campus as a person auditioning, and you walked up those steps to go into audition, you're kind of getting a good feeling because you're like, man, this looks good. It's like people don't realize that stuff matters.
Yeah.
The stuff that the people that do know that it matters is usually a pain in the ass because they're yelling at us.
No, I mean, I like all of that, and then just even going into people's investment into property. And I was working on a new grocery store recently in the Northeast, and like it had these views from a main highway. It was going to sit up perched, but the way that the grading for the site was like naturally, like maybe you needed a really tall sign, and we looked at some ways to like elevate the building a little bit more and do some architectural things with the building to where like people could see it from the interstate. And like these people were so like, oh my God, like this is our big investment into this. And now rather than having to rely on this 70-foot tall sign that's going to stick up, on the interstate, like you guys helped us site the building on the property to where people can like see. So it's like, it's cool. I don't know. It's like stuff that normal people don't think about. And to me, I think like, I assume that everybody thinks the same way that I do.
Yeah.
But the more I do this, I realize that it's not the case. And so I love being able to be a voice in a room of people where you can have that opinion that will help elevate something a little bit more. And it's a lot of times easy stuff, but it's stuff that the normal person like wouldn't think about. And normal is not the right word, but just like
the everyday.
Wouldn't think about. So.
Well, no, I get that completely because it's like it might be something easy for you to whip up and it's just like it'll blow people's minds because I do stuff like that all the time and I'm just like, that was. But I think that's what's awesome about humans, because we're talking about AI and all that kind of stuff, is that we all have different views of this.
Yep.
And even me talking to you earlier about like when we were talking about the picture and thinking about being back in 1776 is just like, I thought I was crazy for even saying that like, other people are just assuming, the normal thing.
It's not black and white with humans.
They're not.
It's not black and white with humans.
Yeah. I think that's probably the best way to put it is, and that's what's nice, especially when you're in a business and you're all in a room and Zach thinks this and Tim thinks this and whoever thinks this. It's like you're collaborating on something. And you're seeing each other's point of views on it.
Yeah. Where I think if you put it into the model, it's just going to say whatever is the, generally accepted practice, but it may not be the right thing for whatever specific thing that you're working on. So.
Yeah. Well, it's just like when you put it in the model, it's just like probably taking the low hanging fruit of like as it's scouring the internet. But when they figure out how to give it, I don't want to say feelings, but like a lot of it is our gut. A lot of it it's like my gut tells me that this would be really nice here. And I feel that because I've already calculated in my brain that this particular plant and this and that will do well here. And it matches well with this plant.
Yeah.
It's like, can the AI model do that?
Yeah. I think it can from a data perspective, like you said, but there's so much extra nuance in the real world.
Yeah.
That, it's up to somebody who knows what they're doing to check that. It might just look at something and say, well, it's in this planting zone. It gets this much sunlight. The soil is this. Therefore, it's going to do great. But there might be something that you see in the field at a site, whatever, that makes you say, it's actually not going to do that well.
Well, it probably in the future it'll be better at doing that.
Oh, 100%.
But
and then we'll be out of a job.
But we still got a little bit of time. But
I was at a conference recently, and I think I may have said this in another podcast, so repeat it, whatever. But there was one of the keynote speakers was the CEO of an AI company, and he came out and flat out said, like, we're a long way away.
Yeah.
There's no reason to be up in arms about taking jobs and whatever. And I think, yes, like along the way, it will probably eliminate some positions. But much like when we got rid of the horse and brought in the car, it created other jobs, right? So like,
I agree with that. And I think that we are a ways off from it. But the way that technology is moving
fast,
is I don't know. But, and I don't mean to scare you or anything like that, but which is why the whole vending machine thing that I talked about earlier is that is something that people need or want. They will spend their money on it.
I love Doritos, so there better be Doritos.
It's food.
Yeah.
It's just like I'm in the landscaping business and I work for a large landscaping company, and you don't have to buy all the things that we have, but generally speaking, you have to have your grass cut.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have your bushes trimmed. You have to have these things. And that cannot be taken away by AI, like the physical labor of it. Now, my position and my job will be able to be taken away in the future, just like your job could probably be taken away in the future. And
Aspects of it.
Yeah. No, you're right. Exactly right. Because like there's a lot of physical things that I have to do, and there's physical things that you have to do. But a lot of the stuff can be taken away with AI. And we just got done talking about, like, look at where we are 250 years from the founding of our country.
Mm-hmm.
And then we break that down even in the past 10 years of where things, because probably when you were younger, when you were in high school, they were saying you need to go to school for coding. You need to figure out coding. You need to do all this and that. You can make a lot of money. And people did make a lot of money on it.
For a minute.
But now it's like, no, do not do that.
Yep.
Honestly, like going into a trade or something like that is probably the better.
There's going to be a huge resurgence of the trade work. I mean, there's such a shortage now. I mean, the specialized trades, I feel like you're right. Like as a kid, it was go to college, get a 4-year degree, XYZ, get the job, whatever. And I mean, it's severely like the trades are a huge shortage, right? And so I think that now there's a pendulum swing back because people who went and spent all this money to get these 4-year degrees, they come out into these oversaturated job markets, or maybe the degree that they got there's not that many jobs available. Well, guess what? They also don't have, a lot of people don't have skills to do things with their hands on their own. So like, I think it's definitely going to come back. And I think there's a lot of people on TikTok, YouTube, whatever, that have been talking about this for a while. I mean, there's one guy I watch on YouTube a lot that runs a construction company, and he's been on it for 10 years. And he's like, I was not good at school. I didn't go to college. All my teachers said I was going to be a failure because I wasn't going to go to college, but I knew that I wanted to start this construction company. He lives in California. And like at least on the surface, from what you see on YouTube, very successful, and seems like a good person, good worker, hires good people, treats his employees well. So like he understands how to run a business and be self-sufficient and run a construction company. He didn't need to go spend 4 years at a college spending a bunch of money to figure out how to do that. And he got a 4-year head start in his earning, his life. So,
a lot of people I feel like have looked down on Nikki and I on how we raised our kids. And it's a double-edged sword for sure. Like, we never pushed going to college on our kids because, look, if you're going to be a lawyer or a doctor or a nurse or any of those type of things, you got to go to school to learn all that kind of stuff. But so many things, especially with YouTube and all that kind of stuff, you can learn how to do that. You can learn if you're savvy. Look, I'm the first to tell you, there's a lot of people out there that don't have any business running a company or doing any of that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of people out there, the George Washingtons that are out there in the field that don't know what they're doing, or they know what they're doing, and they're just out there doing grunt work when they could be like commanding the Continental Army.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's tons of people out there that are capable, but our society has like drilled into their head that they have to have the schooling and this and that and the other. You can educate yourself and become, a great business leader and all that kind of stuff. And I guess that's kind of the mindset that I've taken with my kids, that all 3 of my kids are really smart. And I've always been the kind of parent, like as the kids were growing up, and be like, I'm not going to be the parent that's like, oh no, not my kid. oh no, he's perfectly fine. Like I'd call their asses out if they were doing something stupid.
Right.
And so I feel like that has led them into, I have 3 very well-rounded children.
Yeah.
They're very smart, they're capable. And they could run business or they could do all of this stuff. Not now, but if they studied it. Because like you can not have any experience with anything and say, you know what, I'm really interested in that. And then go and figure it out.
And I think, I just don't think that college is for everyone. And I think especially in today's day and age, there's so many avenues that somebody can take to earn a great living or build a business or be successful or whatever. Like you're not limited to these just structured, the same stuff that you've heard, your whole life. There are so many things that you can do to build a successful life now more than ever. Like I don't think the 4-year college degree like really isn't all that, it's cracked up to be, right? But like, I also think that it's incumbent on the type of person, right? Like if you don't go to college, but you also are the type of person that just doesn't care about anything,
well, you got to have,
you're not going to be successful.
exactly.
Right? Like,
You have to back it up. Like that's what I tell my kids. I also want to preface it with, you can do whatever you want. I'm not going to push this college on you, but if you feel like you need to go to college, that's fine.
Because there's a lot of people who go to college and mess around and whatever, and then they get out and they're no better off than somebody who didn't go, right?
But there's people out there though that are those natural born leaders and the people that just get it. I kind of equate it to in the music business or in the music industry, like my friend Jeremy that comes on here. It's like he doesn't have any kind of technical schooling on anything, but he's that type of guy that can like pick up any instrument and fiddle around with it and be like, oh, I know how to do this.
Yeah.
So there's tons of people out there that maybe don't have the means to go to college or don't have the, the capacity in their head the patience to sit through and go get a degree in that kind of stuff that are completely capable of saying, you know what, I have this interest in running a business. Let me read up on it. And then be able to successfully do it. And there's tons of people like that out there. And so that's kind of there's people on the side of like, no, you need to go to school. You need to get a 4-year degree or however long it takes. And you need to go get this job. But, from experience with me that whenever I hired people, when I was in that position, I would look at people. What is the character of this person? How is this person going to react to these things? Because you can teach that person to do anything.
Yeah.
And if you catch a person that's like smart, you can see that they've got a good head on their shoulders. They can do whatever you need them to do. And there's tons of people out there like that. And I just hate like, I don't want to get my kids or anybody else in like this whole loop of like student debt and paying all this and that and the other. But like I said a second ago, if you're going to go to be a doctor, yes, you need to be educated, formally educated and that kind of stuff, or lawyer and things like that. But there's so many things that you can do. And then I'm talking like not even trades type stuff, because ChatGPT is not going to be able to weld your gate on your trailer. There's that whole aspect too. And so it's just,
but there are so many things too that like are kind of behind the gate, like being a landscape architect. Like you have to have gone to a 4-year, accredited program. So like there are, like you said, there are still those things that are kind of gate kept behind going to college. But if you're going to go and get a general degree in something that when you get out of school, you really don't have to have that degree, right? To do it.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this.
I bet on myself, man.
As a landscape architect that you are now, and those of you that don't know, Zach and I met years ago as an intern at the company that I work for. And he did a wonderful job, and it was leading into this landscape architect job. So we knew that it was not a permanent thing that you were coming to work with us. And I'm really happy to see that you were able to transition into the job that you desired.
Yeah.
looking back on it now that you've been in this position for years, do you think that you needed the school that you had to be able to get the job that you have now? Or do you think that the desire that you had to do this, the love of, like we were all talking about earlier, of like, hey, I can just see things in this way, blah, blah, blah. Do you think that you could have learned all that kind of stuff on your own rather than the debt that you acquired from?
Yeah. Well, I got really lucky with scholarships and stuff. So I never got into that hole, I guess, with ACT scores and the fact that I went to a school that was out of state, that Tennessee didn't have the degree. So there's all this stuff that got worked out, and really, I really didn't have to pay anything for school, which was great. And that's a blessing.
Yeah.
I would say yes. I still feel to this day that going and getting the 2 degrees that I did in the landscape architecture and the contracting side of things, like
it's helped you.
There were so many things that I learned in that I still use to this day, and ways to look at things. And I would say yes. However, on the flip side of that, I do think that you can self-teach a lot of the stuff. If you know where to look and the resources and everything, I would say yes. The problem is to get licensed, you have to have the degree and then certain time. So like that aspect, you have to do it. But
even at the company that you work for, do they require people to have like the degree and all the things, or have you guys hired where you're like, man, this guy really knows his stuff?
I think it depends on the position. I honestly don't know. I feel like when I was getting hired, yes, it was certainly required.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that, and even aside from getting hired, just to be able to get licensed is required. So,
yeah. I mean, I work in a company where it's kind of like, I started working there when I was like 22 years old.
Yeah.
22, 23 years old. And so it's kind of like all that I know. And so I'm not trying to sit here and toot my own horn or anything like that, but I am of the camp of like, I want to better myself and I want to do more and I want to build my way up and I want to make more money.
Yeah.
What it all comes down to. And so I did what I needed to do to make more money. And so I've learned all these things over the past 20 years of doing all that stuff. But like if I did not work where I work now and I had to start over, all I have on my resume is my experience.
Yeah.
And so I notice now that, a lot of people that, a lot of places that you go and apply for jobs for is like, you need to have this degree or equivalent experience, whatever it is. And I appreciate seeing that. But like, what really kind of discourages me that I think of Jack being young and it's like, he's got his head on his shoulders and he can learn anything that you put in front of him. He's the kind of guy that'll do anything you tell him to do. Is he the person that can, what I learned when I was younger is like, Tim, I know you can get this list of things done, but Tim, can you make the list? And so that's always stuck with me over the years. Do I think that Jack's at that yet? No, I don't think so. But he will get to that.
Absolutely.
What happens with those people? Say because he's 18 now, say 21, he's kind of got some years under his belt and he can go and do something really good. Would he be in the running for a person that, went to school for 4 or 5 years, 4 or 5, 6 years, or would they pick him? I would like to think that, like I said a minute ago, like I'm kind of looking at somebody and does this person fit with us? Because I can pretty much tell off the bat if he's smart, if he can handle whatever job that I'm giving him or whatever else. And I'm just thinking, is he a cultural fit as opposed to what his knowledge is, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I just think it depends on the position and the company that's doing the hiring, right? Like, I know that's the easy answer, but there's you could learn all these things. On the job training is the best kind of training there is, right? Like what you learn on the job is greater than any kind of schooling that you can get, right? But if somebody's hiring that feels that that's like the differentiator, it's just like I guess that's where we're at for now.
I think that it's like if you're growing with a company, it's one thing. I guess I'm just kind of looking at it through the lens of like, if I quit my job right now and I went to go apply for another job, I think that I would have as good of a shot as someone that's educated to get another job just because of my experience. But I think of the younger kids that are well capable of doing whatever this college person is, because I always think back to like when I worked in the restaurant and I was a manager of a Mellow Mushroom in Franklin. People would come in and be like, "Oh yeah, I went to bartending school, ready for a bartending job," and I'm just like, "No."
Like why?
It's like, no. Can you do all of these things? Can you juggle?
Yep.
I used to probably say that to you back in the day. Can you juggle all of these things? Because that's what it is. It's not about like what. Yeah, you can make a drink. Well, I can get on my phone now and be like, "How do you make a old fashioned?"
And they do that.
I know.
I've been to bars where they've done that,
and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it's fine
as long as they can juggle the 100 people that are asking them for
if
something.
It doesn't take 30 minutes to get it. I don't care.
I know. But I would laugh at people that came in and be like, "Oh yeah, I have a what do they call it? A plant and whatever degree." And I'm just like, okay, I don't care. Can you manage people? Can you go out and mow grass? Can you do all these things?
Yeah.
And the sad thing is a lot of, I know that you're one of the exceptions because you're a college, I don't want to say college kid because you're not a kid anymore, but like you were a college kid, but you could back it up with your knowledge and experience and know how to handle things. But a lot of the people that are in college are just like, it's an extension of high school and they're not out in the real world.
Yeah.
They don't really know what's going on, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I had friends in college that kind of slept their way through, 4 or 5 years and came out and don't do anything related to the degree that they got, or they had some kind of family situation that they knew they were already going to go into when they got out. And I always just kind of thought like, why are you here? You could be, but it goes back to just being told like, you're going to go to college. This is what people in our family do and whatever. And my parents never explicitly said you're going to college, but it was, my mom didn't go, you know what I mean? Like it was, and she had a very successful career in the aviation world also. And that's how she met my dad. And, my dad went to school for journalism for a couple of years and then switched to another school and started doing flight stuff. So like, it really doesn't matter to me. Like if you go to school or if you don't go to school, even if you do go, like what you go for, it's about who you are as a person and what you can build of yourself. And then in today's day and age, if you learn and you convince other people that you are the person or these things, people are going to take a chance on you. If you come into an interview and you are confident, carry yourself well, can show that you prove that you understand what somebody is looking for, and you didn't go to college and you have your competition as somebody who's slept their way through 4 or 5 years and comes in and is just like, well, this is my degree and whatever. I mean, if I'm doing the hiring, I don't care.
Well, that's what I was going to say. A sharp manager would catch that.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of not sharp managers out there, but as I've gotten older, I kind of look at that as like, okay, well, as a 20-year-old or 21-year-old, I would be really disappointed.
Yeah.
And there's things that disappoint me even now, but I am of the opinion of like, well, that happened for a reason.
Well, maybe it makes you work, harder on whatever it is that you, right? Like if you get that disappointment, you're like, well, I'm never letting this happen to me ever again.
Well, and it's just like that. There's that, and then it's like, well, this is not my path. This is not what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I think that when you get older, you kind of all that stuff kind of presents itself more, that where you are almost kind of protected from doing something stupid, or maybe, no, I'm so upset I did not get this position, or I'm so upset that this thing didn't, I wanted this so bad, but it's kind of like God or whatever anybody thinks is just protecting you from like, hey, no, I got something better coming for you.
And you grow and you learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable and comfortable being disappointed.
Yeah.
And
every time I had to lay somebody off or do something like that, I was always like, I felt bad for doing it, but at the same time I was like, this is going to be the best thing that's ever happened to this person.
Yeah.
Because then they can go to what they're supposed to be doing. Because it sucks, like firing somebody, especially when there's like a person where you get, they got a family to support and all that kind of stuff, but they're just not cutting it. And when you're looking at it from a business aspect, you're just like, I have to think of the business, because it's my job to make sure that this person is carrying their weight and doing what we need them to do.
Yeah.
And if they're not doing that, even if they're a good person, you got to lay them off. But what gave me comfort is knowing that like, this is just not where they're supposed to be right now.
Yeah.
And
something else.
And they will find something else.
Yeah.
Everybody always does. Even myself, like if it didn't work out where I'm working now and I got laid off, I'm not just going to be like, I guess I'm just not going to ever have a job again.
Yeah.
Well, what do you naturally do? You're going to go find another job.
When you take that fire and you put it in to the next thing.
Yeah.
And I think too, and not, I hate to like come back to, the AI stuff, but with kids now in school, there's never been a more level playing field, right? Of like the information that you can get your hands on. And I think that people in school, I've just seen a lot of stories and read a lot of stuff about these kids that are going through college, and their families or they or whoever are paying all this money for them to get these degrees, and they're literally AIing their way through. And then you get out and you're like, what do you really know? You might know the same as this person who didn't go and taught themselves using the same information. So
it's interesting. It's interesting that you say that, because like, I didn't even think of that aspect of like the kids now over the past 3 years, let's call it, to where they can just get that information immediately.
Now the universities know, right? Like I've listened to some discussions about when somebody turns something in or it goes through like an AI checker. Like the universities have these systems in place. Kids are resourceful. They're gonna figure out a way. But I mean, even when I was in school, we didn't have AI like we do now, but all of our work had to go through all these, like when we write papers, we go
Can
through
they
this,
detect
like, check.
that now?
Oh yeah.
So I mean, okay.
There's these like systems where it can put it through and it can see like keystrokes, and it can also see like general phrases that it picks up on, that it knows like these different systems are using. I mean, it's pretty.
I had no idea. I didn't know because honestly, I really haven't thought of that. But I was going to ask if I ask Larry to write me a report on John Adams, and it puts it through, and then I turn that, hey, Larry, make me a report on John Adams. I need this. It needs to be 5 pages. Mm-hmm. And he would do it.
Yeah.
If I just turn that in, they can detect if it's been written by AI.
From what I've read, yes. Yeah, these universities.
Well, that's probably good, because I'm sure that there's tons of kids out there
doing that.
Which I don't blame them. I mean, hell.
Use your resources.
I mean, shit. It's different for you because I was a generation before you. I'd write that shit on my hand.
Yeah.
In the it's
calculator.
Yeah, it's a manual. It's like the teacher's just like, all right, put your hands out.
Yeah.
It's like people try to get creative, wear a long sleeve shirt.
Heck no, man. We had to. There were rules. It was like your phones went in a box. Your Apple Watch went in a box. The little like on your calculator, the little lid that you slide it into went in a box. And everything went into a box, and you literally went to your seat, and it was just you and a pencil.
But that's what's funny. You said you're 31, and I'm 44. that much time apart, what you're saying right now, there was never any Apple Watches, there was never phones, there was never, I mean, just in that short span of time.
Yeah.
You know, when I was younger, it was like, hey, make sure they don't have something written on their hand. Now we're just like, everybody's Larry sitting there like, what if I said, Larry, I need a report on John Adams. I need you to make it to where they can't detect that you wrote it for me.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Larry would be like, okay, no problem, and do something. But
it would be wrong. And
like we talked about before, I don't trust him for that.
And then they'd figure it out, and then you'd light Larry up, and he'd be like, oh, my bad.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, you got expelled.
Larry, I got in trouble. Larry, I got in trouble with my parents. I got expelled from school, and he'll be like, hey, sorry about that, Tim. You're right.
Next time.
Next time I'll do better.
No, I mean, even when I went to go take my landscape architecture test and whatever, they put my phone and my watch, and I mean, I don't even wear an Apple Watch. They took my regular watch and they put it in a bag that gets locked and hangs on the back of and then when you leave, you have to get the key from the person to unlock it. I mean, it's like every aspect of life now.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's fine. I'm not opposed to that because, you know, they're trying to keep up with the technology.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want a bunch of kids cheating on all that kind of stuff.
No.
And then not. You know, and then you got the college. It's like, hey, I'm proud that I graduated this kid and put him out into the real world.
Yeah.
And he sucks. You know? So.
Oh, man.
All this is too serious, Zachary. You know, I didn't expect for us to get into hardcore all of this. Honestly, what I expected us to get into is James Monroe.
Yeah.
But here we are.
I wish I knew more about the guy. Maybe next time.
I don't either. Next week when I meet with Mike and we do when we do this pod,
what I'll do is I will compare what y'all say to my notes.
Yeah,
you sent
since
me.
you studied up and you were ready for it.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's been it's good to have you here.
Thanks, man.
I'm glad you come out.
I love coming out. It's like I love doing it. I love to talk. I love the deep conversations. I love fun conversations. Whatever.
Yeah.
I just like to talk to people and learn about what people have going on. So.
Well, I texted you and I was like, "Hey, you want to come out?" And just so the listeners know that Zach's always like, "Yeah, I'm there." And so I'm like, "Okay, he's there." In 2 or 3 weeks, I'm like, "I'll check in." And he'll be like, "Sorry, Tim, this thing came up, but you're here." And I really do appreciate it because
I commit, man. I'm not wishy-washy.
You don't know how many people say, yeah, I think it's a great idea.
I am the person that if we're in a group chat and we're talking about something, a trip, an outing, a thing, like I'm going.
I know. You are that person. But I
do the best I can.
I appreciate it, and it's nice to have you out here in Hollywood Studios.
Thanks for having me, man. It's
And
always fun.
You will come back for sure for the Pierce president.
Okay.
I'll make sure of that.
I'll bring my paper I did in 4th grade on the guy.
You should. That'd be awesome. All right, Zachary.
Let's do it.
Thanks, man. See ya.